Welcome to QuickSWIP's online video series. In this video, we'll discuss onboarding and staff training for QuickSWIP's field technicians. In this section, we're going to speak about what to look for on pre-storm inspections, storm inspections, and post-storm inspections. So what we just went over is what to look for during your weeklies. It doesn't change a whole lot when you are out there for your pre-storm, storm, and post-storm, but there are some additional things to look out for. Number one is covering of the washouts. On the weekly section, we talked about concrete washouts and the purpose and what they're supposed to do before a storm event, and it's supposed to be 50% chance or greater per NOAA. When you do your pre-storm inspection, always make sure that concrete washouts are covered. The purpose of covering these concrete washouts is so stormwater doesn't accumulate within that enclosed kiddie pool or whatever the washout material is and doesn't build up and overflow and basically defeats the whole purpose of having that concrete washout. The other thing is stockpiles. We talked about stockpiles. If they're not being used for 14 days, they need to be covered. Prior to a storm event, a stockpile needs to be covered. Now, typically, you'll see that covered with plastic and sandbags. It's kind of the cheapest way to do it and the quickest way to get those stockpiles covered. But that is a recommendation we always encourage our QSPs to make. Cover your stockpiles prior to storm events. And that applies to risk level 1 or risk level 2. All of these apply to risk level 1 or risk level 2. The last thing is covering the dumpsters. So you have trash bins, you have these larger dumpsters on site. And again, when it's not raining, it's not such a big deal. But prior to a rain event, you want to cover these dumpsters. And the purpose of that, again, is so the pollutants that are within that dumpster don't have a way of escaping the site via stormwater runoff. Again, that applies for risk level 1 and risk level 2 sites. During storm events, if it's a risk level 1, again, it's only observational. So what you'll be observing is, are the washouts covered? Are the washouts overflowing? Are the stockpiles covered? Sometimes, the storm will remove some of the plastics that are on the stockpile and leave a bit of it exposed. And then all of a sudden you have a bunch of storm water that is coming into contact with that stockpile and the sediments are leaving the site. You want to take a look at the dumpsters, make sure those are covered up. And if it's a risk level 1, again, observational. If it's a risk level 2, you want to take samples on a risk level 2. And samples will be pH and turbidity samples. Risk level 1 does not require those samples. And lastly, post-storm inspection. What you want to look for is for any breaches in the BMPs. So, maybe you see the silt fence kind of blew down and is not functioning anymore. The fiber rolls are not staked and, they're not doing their job anymore and they're removed from where they're supposed to be. Sandbags are breached and all of a sudden, you need to be on the lookout for things that occur during the storm event that need to get maintained, replaced, removed, and kind of bring the site back up into compliance prior to that storm event. Sometimes these storm events can get pretty large, a lot of runoff, a lot of wind, and they absolutely can damage the BMPs on site. And that's why this whole SWIP thing is, it requires a lot of constant maintenance. And that's why we are out there. We're constantly providing our recommendations to the site superintendents, to our clients, to keep them in compliance. During the post-storm, you can look for areas of accelerated erosion. That could be kind of like a mini little river that has formed and, bypass the BMP or something along those lines where maybe you need to look, okay, we observed what happened post-storm. We need to add additional BMPs in this location. And that is discussions that you can have with the site superintendent, you can have with your manager at QuickSWIP, and we can come up with a plan to better control the sediment leaving the site or any other pollutants that are on site. As a QSP at QuickSwip, what we do is we provide recommendations to our clients. We don't ever tell them you have to do this. If you don't do this, you're going to get fined. Very rarely will I say something like that, but typically, what I like to do and what I implore all QSPs to do is using the word recommend. Based on our experience, we recommend this BMP. Based on our experience, we recommend removing that BMP and replacing it with this. What that does is it gives the client a sense of confidence that we're not better than them. We're not trying to tell them what they have to do because they're already under a lot of stress and pressure. The last thing they need is one of their subcontractors, someone that they're paying, is creating more work for them. So it does require kind of a delicate balance and a little finesse. That's why we implore you guys to use the word recommend whenever you see any observations or you think something should get fixed. Whenever you put in the reports, it's always recommend. We hope you found this video helpful. Thanks for watching.